Well, we're pulling up to the end of the floor now, and as I mentioned to you earlier, the two most important points, focal points in the floor, are the hearth and this doorway. And you might notice here, we're tight fitting to an existing floor here, so it's very important we get as square as we possibly can. Now, I've left this space here so that if I have to take a little bit off each board to make the boards come out, I can do that. And I'll take some measurements now and just see how far out I am. I'd like to end up with a full board if I can, or close to it. If not, I might use a 3-inch plank, but I don't want to end up with a little rip. All right, 13, I'm about an 1/8 of an inch off full board here, and 3/16 here. It's great. Okay, so I should be able to take one of these full-length boards and take 1/8 of an inch off this end and taper to 3/16 on this end, and then take the tongue off the board next to it and top nail it right in. Okay, this is the board that I took the taper cut off of, and I've already fit it into place here, and I really can't tilt it up here because it's underneath the door trim here. So I've taken the tongue off this board so it'll fit into that tapered board, and on the back side I've taken the back of the groove, or the underside of the groove, off so I can fit it into place without taking this leading tongue off of this board. Retrofitting a hardwood floor is much more difficult than installing a floor in a new house. But even with the extra time and effort it takes, I think the end result is more than worth it. Well, as you can tell by now, installing a hardwood floor involves a lot of hard work. But with some minor carpentry skills and a little patience, and in probably less than a week's time, you too can have a floor that looks like this. I tell you, we're really going to love this hardwood in the kitchen. It's really easy to keep clean. The dining room here is especially nice too. I like the way the grate looks in here. But the coupe de grace here is the border around the hearth. I'm just tickled to death with it. It really came out looking nice. It took a long time, but the brass and the ebony really are set off with the fireplace. I'm just real pleased with it. And it ties in too with the way we've done the header around the sliding door here too. Well, there's just one final thing here to do, and that's put the plugs in our grates and headers, and I'll show you how to do that right now. To finish off the floor, we have these 1/2-inch cut plugs. And you might note I like to set the plugs cross-grain. That does a couple things. One is it helps to highlight the plug in the floor, and secondly, you don't have to worry about grain alignment this way. When you've got a lot of plugs, it really makes a difference. Just use a little bit of glue in there and just set it in and drive it home. Now we'll come back later when the glue is dried and we'll edge this flush with the floor so that there's no chance of it being knocked out. Well, what do you think? You think you can do it? I think you can. Just have a little patience, allow yourself plenty of time, and you can really have a nice hardwood floor. If you've gotten this far, you might want to consider sanding and finishing the floor yourself as well. If you do, why don't you pick up my tape on sanding and finishing hardwood floors? Bye for now. Well, I've been in the hardwood flooring business almost 15 years now, and it's not the easiest way to make a living. One of the ways I use to relax is to come home and feed my dog Kodiak here and feed my fish. Here, guys. Whoa. It's a beautiful setting. Really helps to ease the soul.